So thank you very much for joining myself in how to control the game as a midfielder. My name is Mimi Olaide, and I'll be kicking you off with this masterclass. So, as usual, if you can pop your mics on mute, okay, to avoid any background interference, and then utilize the chat box to engage in any questions or answer any questions as well. If you utilize the chat box where possible. Okay, I'm just going to roll with it now. Just as I said, as long as everyone can see me, they can see the presentation, we'll be good to go. Cool. So in this masterclass, session outcomes will be looking at gaining an insight into controlling a football match as a midfielder. I will be aiming to touch upon the traditional holding midfielder, known as the number 6 or number 4, depending on the generation or the era or country you're residing in. And then we're going to look to try and unpick and identify key attributes required as a midfielder, so as a centre midfield player in this modern game of football that we love to play. Cool. So a little bit of background information about myself. I'm a UEFA B qualified coach and currently under 23 assistant manager at Reading City, who play in the step 7 of the English football pyramid, and an owner of MO Football Coaching as well. So on the graphic we have an array of different type of centre midfield players. So we've got Declan Rice, who in his West Ham years was more of a number 6 holding midfield, and then now with his Arsenal career has now evolved into like a box-to-box number 8. We've got Angel Gomez, which is again, he is a number 6 player in his own right, and I'm aware with his current team he can also operate as a number 10. We have the main man that Man City are potentially missing out on that currently. One of the best number 6s currently, current Ballon d'Or winner as well, Rodri. We have Martin Odegaard, traditionally now a number 8 in his Real Madrid years, and in his early years in Arsenal, predominantly would operate as a number 10. And then we have Vitinha here for PSG, formerly of Wolves, box-to-box midfielder, number 8 as well. So here are just the variations of different number 8s, different controlling midfielders. What I'd like you to do, if there's any others that you believe, if you, I know you said about Valverde. Are there any other centre midfield players, either a number 6 or a number 8, that you believe are top tier elite in European football, world football? Just ping some in the chat box, so I can just gather your thoughts and then see what your thinking is. If you just let me know in the chat box, that'd be really great, just to see your knowledge and see any other centre midfielders if I've missed anyone out. I'll just give us a few minutes or so just to gather some thoughts in the chat box, and then we'll move on. Cool. That's the centre midfielder from Ipswich. So I believe they play a double pivot, and he plays as one of the 2 6s. Cool. Anyone else that springs to mind as a controlling number 6? Number 6. Yep. Tony Cruz. Yep. Cool. Again, a world-class midfielder for Real Madrid and for Bayern Munich. For Bayern Munich as well. Yeah. Kante. And Tony Cruz for Real Madrid as well. Kante, cool. Predominantly a number 6, and then in the Sarri era, he became a number 8. Might be biased, but Edison Alves, cool. Holding midfielder. Is he Declan Rice's replacement? Some might say. Cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. So we'll move on now. Okay, so here's the information, here's the detail, here's the bit that we're here for on this call. So in possession, if we look at a midfielder, if we look at a number 6 or a number 8, okay, they're predominantly going to be the link between the defensive line and the midfield line. So in how we play, or how we would like the beautiful game to be played in the modern day now, we're having teams and goalkeepers and centre backs where are splitting. and then the number six is dropping in between the centre backs to get the ball either directly from the goalkeeper or from the centre backs. So I know if we watched the England game yesterday, I know the opposition Latvia. If you saw how they set up, their two centre backs split, and then they were trying to play the ball into the midfield. So the aim for a midfielder for a number six is to drop in between the centre backs and receive and build the attack. So someone like Rodri does this very well. If we look at Jorginho when he was at Chelsea, likes to get on the ball quite deep. Romero Lavia as well, currently at Chelsea as well. And then we also have Joshua Kimmich as well, who can play in that number six role, that number eight role as well. So that's in possession. Out of possession, the number six is going to aim to provide that defensive cover. So again, they are the shield and they are the barrier between the midfield line and defensive line, aiming to provide that cover. They're aiming to screen and protect the back four, predominantly teams that play with a back four. And their aim is to read, block passes into the opposition's forward line. And their ability to read and block passes into the forward line will then enable them to get on the ball and then build the attack as quickly as possible. I've got some clips that I'm using, a certain Martin Odegaard, and he has possesses a few of these. I know he plays the number eight predominantly, but you would see him drop into that number six role to receive. And then in the next two slides, I've got some visuals, images that will break down some roles and responsibilities as well. So again, so if we look at this infographic, I'll just get my, so I'll just get my eraser here. So we've got my marker here. So I've got the back four. So we're looking at Man City. We've got the back four of Walker, Akanji, Ake, and Guardiola. And then I'm shedding light now on Rodri. So if you look at the position that Rodri is positioning himself in, so in between the two centre backs, and then trying to screen and protect the back four. He's looking to receive the pass from Akanji, and then if you look at, he's got Foden, he's got Kovacic to create that triangle. So if you look here, the number six holding midfielder, once they get on the ball, they then can dictate if the ball goes forward, if it goes sideways, if it goes backwards as well, because of their position that they take up, which is really central and right in the middle of the pitch. Then if we look here, working with Bayern Munich, so you've got Bayern Munich's back four, and we've got Joshua Kimmich. So you see him here. This is a 4-2-3-1, and then you look at the two number sixes, number six double pivot, who will be on different lines. So you have Kimmich here being a bit deeper, and then you have Goretzka being a bit higher. And then you've got Sane, Coman, and Musiala, number 10, and Harry Kane. So if we're looking at Kimmich here, where he's receiving the ball, where he's pressed towards the right side of him, his opportunity now is to play into the centre backs here, or into the centre backs here, or out to the fullback. So again, he's then dictating if the ball goes forward or goes back to the defensive line, depending on the pressure in and around him. So I've got some roles and responsibilities as a midfielder in regards to how and what you can do in and out of possession to dominate the midfield and dominate the game as a whole, depending on your actions. So if we look here in possession, the aim of a midfielder is to retain and build possession with the defensive unit. Scan and create before receiving. So it's important to scan and create. Look for some pictures. Go and create the space before receiving. Receive the ball on the half turn as possible. Where you can receive the ball on the half turn, that then enables you to either play forwards, play to the side, or then play back to try and dictate the tempo of the game. Drop in as a pivot. become the link between a defensive unit and the midfield unit as well. So you have if we're looking at a back four, you've got the right back and left back being quite high, and then you've got the two centre backs dropping in inside the 18-yard box, and then you as a midfielder can then drop in between the two centre backs to then be that link. So the clip that I showed you with Rodri, that will be him dropping in between the two centre backs to try and build that link and create that triangle to see where they can play. The aim, as much as possible, is to retain possession under pressure. So retaining possession under pressure enables you to dictate the tempo in regards to if you're able to retain the ball under pressure. If it doesn't need to go forward at a moment, if it doesn't need to go to the side, you're able to still retain it whilst your players are still making those runs. In the clip that I'll show you next with Odegaard, I've picked out some key attributes of his, and it will also link in the roles and responsibilities that I'm showing you as well. And essentially, if you're looking at a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 that most teams predominantly play in football in this modern day era now, is to combine with the number 2, which will be the right back, combine with the 2 centre backs, the 5 or the 6 or the 5 and the 4, depending on what numbers you use in the country you're residing in, and then also combine with the 8 and the 10 as well. And then think when and where to play those progressive penetrative passes. So if it is a case whereby you want to progress the ball forward to dictate to set the tone for your team, understanding when to go forwards and then when to retain and build, depending on the actions of the opposition. Looking at playing passes through, into, onto, or beyond to your teammates. And then as normal, competing in aerial duels from open and attacking set pieces. So if you're able to win the first contact or you're able to win the second loose balls as well to get your team on the front foot and playing. Out of possession, we look at out of possession now. So like we said, essentially you're aiming to press and mark the opposition. So if you're playing in that number 6 role, that holding midfield role, you're aiming to try and press and mark the number 10. If you can stop the ball going into the number 10 or stop the ball going into the number 9, then you're more likely to then get on the ball and then dictate where it's going to go next. If you can stop the ball going into those forward areas. Like I said in the earlier slides, provide defensive cover. So you're aiming to slide and screen your defense and move from left to right. If an opposition is passing from left to right before they can try and break a line to go forward, your role as a number 6 is to slide and screen as a midfield player and then look to get some interceptions. Compete in aerial duels out of possession as well. Prevent counterattacks through blocks, interceptions, tackles. Okay, anticipate, read, and intercept passes. Communicate both with the defensive unit and the midfield unit effectively. So the clip that I showed you with Kimmich, his back was facing the back 4, so there would need to be some form of communication in regards to the back 4 communicating with him and him communicating with the back 4 in terms of where he wants to pass the ball. Okay, I've got a clip here with, I'm just going to play this clip. Everything that I've said in the slides, you would most likely see all of it in the clip. The player that we're going to be focusing on, and I want you all to watch, is Martin Odegaard, and watch his movements and the different actions he does in possession and out of possession, and see how he dictated this game earlier on in the season as a midfield player. Still have that control over the match and over the game. He now then plays it to Saliba and then starts again and then gets it back off Saliba. Sorry, my bad. Play it back. And then he then picks the right moment to then play that ball in behind. So you can now see the space in behind. So lots of cool. Okay, so as we sort of come towards the sort of bits of the information that I'm giving you before I open the floor for any questions, and then I've got the tactics board as well if you want to go through anything else in more detail. Some key attributes for a centre midfielder. If you want to jot any of these down or have some takeaways as a centre midfielder, if you're ensuring you're having those good communication skills, so you're talking to your back line, you're talking to your midfield players, and you're talking to your forward players as well. Uh, as much as possible, having a positive first touch, so your first touch to play forwards, receiving on the back foot, and then that second touch to then take you forwards. As a midfield player, high levels of stamina is required, being able to cover a lot of ground over 90 minutes and then maybe 120 minutes as well. Being press resistant, so being able to deal with pressure from behind, deal with pressure from in front and to the side as well. And then when you're on the ball, can you have that composure? So in the clips that I showed you regarding Odegaard, he had that composure, not always to try and dribble and break a line, or not always to try and play that forward pass, but he also had that composure on the ball to retain it and then dribble and then pick a pass. So those are my 5 key attributes. I know there's many, many more key attributes that we can talk about in terms of a midfielder: having good communication skills, having a good quality first touch, having high levels of stamina, and being very press resistant as well as having that composure on the ball will put you in good stead to be able to control a game from a central midfield position.